Please be seated. Does any member wish to give a notice of a motion? Notice of a motion. None? Oh, yeah, the only one. Honorable Kaula.
Honorable Chairperson Angithokoze, on behalf of Inkatha Freedom Party, I move that this House, acknowledging that the Cape Castle, constructed in 1652 by Jan van Riebeeck and his entourage, will tomorrow on the 9th of December 2016 commemorate 350 years of at a ceremony organized by Arts and Culture. That the commemoration will recognize King Cetshwayo Kampande kaSenza Ngakhona, King Sekhukhune, and the Khoisan kings. All the above for their role in the struggle to protect their kingdoms from colonialism. That a delegation of Amakhosi from the kingdom of the Zulu, led by the Honorable Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, will grace the function on behalf of the Zulu king, where a statue of King Cetshwayo will be unveiled, and that King Cetshwayo spent time in St. Helena and in the castle where he was imprisoned. SinguZulu siyakhuleka kujini ndomnyama ongabende bezingwe nezingonyama. UZulu eladuma obala lapho kungemunga kungemtholo. Uhlamvana bhula umlilo endulinde. Ububa songumantshongo benoqela imali. Sithi wena wendlovu bayede silo samabandla.
Thank you. Does any member wish to move a motion without a notice? Honorable, okay. Honorable Chabango.
Chairperson, I rise on behalf of EFF to move without notice that the Council knows that the sentencing of former ANC chairperson in the Northern Cape, John Block, to 15 years in jail for corruption, monetary laundering, and racketeering. Further knows that Mr. Block had for a very long time held the Northern Cape in ransom, handling it as if it was his own spaza shop, dispensing patronage at will, employing those who will promote his corruption, and firing those who stood against it. Acknowledged that he thought he was never going to face justice because of his proximity to Mr. Zuma, that doyen of corruption in this country. I further acknowledge that the sentencing of Mr. Block must serve as a warning to Mr. Zuma and his gang of corrupt men and women that no matter how long you run from justice, you can never hide from it. The long arm of justice will find you from whatever red hole you may be hiding from. I further welcome the independence and integrity of our justice system, which continuously refuse to be corrupted by ANC. Our judiciary remains the last defense of our constitution, and it is our responsibility to defend. We wish John Block an exciting period of learning and unlearning his corruption.
Honorable Chabango. Honorable Chabango. Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the option, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Order. Honorable members, let me remind you, it's 1.5 minutes. Beyond that, I'm going to be very strict with time. Honorable Ntebe,
Kana dinkwanyana tsa kukurumana. Chair, I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the Council notes that President Jacob Zuma is going to lead the 20th anniversary celebration of the signing into law of the South African Constitution in Sharpeville, Gauteng, on Saturday, the 10th of December. Further notes that the President would lead the marking of an important milestone of one of the most internationally acclaimed, progressive, and transformative constitution in the world. Further notes that the celebration will be held under the theme, celebrating 20 years of the Constitution, transforming society and uniting the nation. Further notes that the President will be accompanied by Chief Justice Mogoeng and the head of legislatures, the Speaker of the National Assembly, and the chairperson of the NCOP. I so move. And by the way, DA rejected this constitution when it was adopted. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the? Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Prince.
Thank you, House Chairperson. I hereby move without a notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the Council first notes that as we resume the festive season, a study conducted by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, has shown that South Africa has lost over 142 billion as a result of costs arising from road traffic crashes. Two, further notes that the study found that a total of 12,944 facilities in 10,603 road traffic crashes were recorded by the Road Traffic Management Corporation, RTMC, in a period of 2 years at a total cost that's equal to 3.4% of the country's gross domestic products. Three, further notes that a breakdown of the costs showed that 99 billion was incurred in human casualty cost, 21.3 billion in vehicle repair cost, and 22.5 billion in incident cost. Takes this opportunity to call on South Africans to exercise extreme caution during the festive season and calls on the law enforcement agencies to wage a concerted fight against reckless and irresponsible drivers. I so move. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? Thank you. The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Motara.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move without notice that the Council notes with utmost concern the irresponsible, reckless, and xenophobic remarks made by Johannesburg Mayor Herman Mashaba last week. Further notes that in his 100th day in office, Mayor Mashaba told a media conference that immigrants in Johannesburg will be treated as nothing less than being criminals. Takes this opportunity to condemn in the harshest possible terms such inflammatory and reckless remarks of Mayor Mashaba and calls on the DA to ensure that Mayor Mashaba is made to withdraw his crude and provocative remarks. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Kimbi.
Thank you, Chairperson. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the Council notes with almost concern the brutal murder of openly lesbian Noluvuyo Swelindao in Driftsands in Cape Town last week. Further notes that the police have arrested a suspect for this cruel and homophobic crime, and takes note this opportunity to condemn in the harshest possible terms the senseless killing of Noluvuyo Swelindao and convey its profound condolences her family. I so moved, Chairperson.
Is there any objection to the motion? No. The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mutlashuping.
No, thanks, House Chair. I hereby move without notice that on behalf of the African National Congress, that the Council notes with profound sadness and grief the death of distinguished South African gospel music maestro, Mr. Sfiso Ncwane, after a short illness on Monday, on the 5th of December 2016. He was only 37 years old. Further notes that Mr. Ncwane previously survived a heart attack while on his way to an event in Mpumalanga in January 2015 and being struck by a lightning, succumbed lately to a kidney failure at the Johannesburg hospital. Acknowledges that he was one of the country's exceptional talented young men, proved beyond doubt in 2013 when he became the first gospel singer to win the Record of the Year award at the South African Music Awards, and takes this opportunity to convey his heartless condolences to his family, especially his wife and children. Kulungile Baba. May his soul rest in peace.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Faber.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby wish to move a motion without notice that this House welcomes the outcome of the John Block corruption trial and sentence of 15 years imprisonment. Now, I just want to, Chairperson, can I be protected? Just be. Chairperson.
Order, members.
I'm
Honorable
not doing
Faber.
the same one than the new kids on the block.
Honorable Faber. Honorable Faber.
The DA,
Honorable Faber.
Chairperson.
Honorable Faber. We have dealt with that motion.
Chairperson, can I do my motion, please?
Order, members.
The DA in the Northern Cape exposed Mr. Block's corruption through a whistleblower in 2003, 13 years ago already. And he was then the Northern Cape MEC of Public Works. So the ANC are still defending Mr. Block since then, until now, after the outcome of this trial, almost 14 years later. The DA believes in an open and transparent government and will assure that all corrupt acts are exposed and that those who default are brought
Honorable
to
Faber.
book. Oh, thank
Honorable
you.
Faber. Honorable Faber. No, can you take your seat? Honorable Faber. Order, members. Honorable Faber, can you take your seat so that I can deal with the motion? In terms of the rules of the National Council of Provinces, no member can be allowed to move a motion that has been rejected by the very same House in the very same sitting. And that's what you are doing. We have dealt with that motion. Honorable Isaac. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Isaac, can you take your seat? Let me entertain the point of order. Honorable Isaac. I'm dealing with Honorable Mokwele.
Thank you, Chair. In terms of the motion that was read by Honorable Shabangu, the reference was more into Mr. JZ 783,
Honorable Mokwele.
not on a matter that the DA did. That one is
Honorable Mokwele.
in relation to the whistleblower that was there from the DA. It's not the same matter. It's not.
Can you take a seat?
Please,
Honorable
Chair.
members.
Please, don't delay the House. We want to go. Please.
Honorable members. Honorable members. Let me start with you before dealing with the... Can you take your seat, Honorable Fab? Honorable members, you are not even assisting me. You are not even assisting yourself. You are just creating a problem. You can't drown a speaker. I must be able to listen and make a proper ruling. Honorable Mokwele, the rules of the House are very clear. If you are aggrieved with my ruling, I've made a ruling. I'm not going to review the ruling. Now the opportunity is given to Honorable Isaac to present his motion. Honorable Isaac. Honorable Mokwele.
With due respect, Chair, ke kopa gore o ska wa dirisa dithata tsa gago go tsaya di decision tse leng gore ga di ka fa molaong. Ke kopa gore reverence ya motion wa honorable, I'm still saying because they drowned you, you couldn't hear what I was saying. The honorable Shabangu's reverence was on Mr. JZ783, not on the whistleblower. So you must allow this member for the motion to be put on the table and then be rejected or be agreed to. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Faber, take your seat. No, I'm dealing with Honorable Mokwele. Honorable Mokwele, I hope I'm saying I've made a ruling. I'm not dealing with the right or wrong of the ruling. I'm very clear. I'm saying there's a procedure in terms of the rules of NCOP. If you are not satisfied with the ruling of how you take it forward, I'm not contesting whether right or wrong. Honorable Faber.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, just on that specific point of yours, if it was the same motion, I would 100% agree, but it's not. So that's the first point. Second point, if you then make the ruling because you decide that it's the same motion, then I want this motion without notice to be changed to a notice of a motion when we can, so that we can debate this.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Honorable Faber. Honorable Isaac. Okay, Honorable Isaac. Honorable Julius.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think in terms of understanding each other and applying the rules in the House, I think we need to substantiate what we mean by the same motion. Because in my mind, it reflects as different, from different parties, it might come different. Can you just protect me, Chairperson?
You are protected, Honorable Julius.
Because the ANC could have come and said here that we are shocked with the sentencing and we welcome the appeal, because that's a statement from the ANC yesterday. But the statement from DA and the statement from EFF, very different. It can never be the same motion. So let's substantiate what we mean by saying it's the same motion. Thank you.
Honorable, can you take your seat? Can you take your seat? Can you take your seat? Let me assist all of you, honorable members. Honorable members, I've made a ruling. And you can't subject my ruling to what you are trying to do, Honorable Julius. You know that is not in order. Honorable Isaac, can you present your motion? Honorable Isaac.
Chairperson.
Honorable Isaac.
Chairperson.
Honorable Faber. Honorable Faber. No, wait. Honorable Faber.
On a point,
We are not
on a point of
recognized.
order,
You are not
Honourable Chair,
recognized.
on a point of order, if you make
Honorable
that
Faber,
decision,
can you deal with that mic? Honorable Faber. Order, members. Honorable Faber. Honorable Faber, I'm giving Honorable Isaac an opportunity, and you are saying Honorable Isaac must sit down, and you are the one who's supposed to talk. Honorable Isaac, can you present your motion? Honorable Isaac, are you done? Honorable Isaac, present your motion.
get your rules right, Chairperson. Get your rules right.
Isaac,
Honorable Chairperson, I thank you profusely for the opportunity. Honorable Chairperson, on behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move a motion without notice that this House, of course, congratulates the Minister of Finance, Pravin Gordhan, the National Treasury, and, of course, the South African Reserve Bank for their hard work to avoid a sovereign credit ratings downgrade of South Africa. All the rating agencies have noted the infighting within the ANC, the ANC factional battles, and of course the political infighting as a key factor influencing the South African economy. In a year, Chairperson, where South Africa has experienced the worst drought ever and skyrocketing food, petrol, and electricity prices, there will be many who will not be experiencing a very festive season. For too long now, the ANC has misgoverned this country with impunity. It is, of course, clear, Honorable Chairperson, that President Zuma does not comprehend what a big deal a junk status implement.
Honorable Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, House
Please
Chair.
keep in mind my time, Chairperson.
I'm
on the
standing
floor.
on a point of order. The honorable member is deliberately misleading the public, saying the ANC is misgoverning. On the other hand, appreciating the work done by the ANC minister.
Honorable Dlamini, that is not a point of order. Honorable Isaac, can you conclude?
Chairperson, I will move towards conclusion, seeing that many don't comprehend what I'm trying to say. Chairperson, for too long, the ANC has misgoverned this country with impunity. It is clear that President Zuma does not comprehend what a big deal a junk status would be to the poorest of the poor. And we now call on government as the DA to implement the structural reforms necessary to now boost economic growth and create the very many jobs needed in this country, as is recommended by the DA previously and concurrently. Chairperson, I thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? Is there any objection? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Zwane.
Thank you, Chairperson. On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice that Council one notes with utmost concern the video of a pupil in Lukhof High School in the Western Cape who was filmed viciously assaulting a classmate on the 24th of November. Secondly, Council further notes that a similar video filmed 4 days later at the same school captured another girl punching a pupil in the head. Thirdly, Council takes this opportunity to condemn in the harshest possible terms the attack on the defenseless learners. And fourthly and finally, calls upon the Department of Education, of Basic Education in the Western Cape to wage a concerted battle against school bullying, which has seen the leaking of a number of vicious bullying incidents in many schools in the Western Cape. I so move, Chairperson. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Kaula.
Ngiyathokoza sihlalo hloniphekile. Egameni leqembu lenkatha yenkululeko ngethula lesiphakamiso esilandelayo sihlalo. Le ndlu izwakalisa ukudabuka kwayo okukhulu ngokudlula emhlabeni okuzumayo nokube nesihluku esikhulu kwenkosi uLinda Mathonsi yesizwe sakwaMathonsi. Inkosi uMathonsi idutshulwe izigcwelegcwele ngomsombuluko yasweleka. Ihamba nendodakazi yayo uNonkululeko okumanje isalaliswe esibhedlela. Egameni leqembu le-IFP kanye nomholi wethu inkosi yakwaButhelezi engundunankulu womdabu wesizwe sikaZulu sidlulisa ukuzwelana nondlunkulu wenkosi, umndeni wenkosi kanye nesizwe senkosi esihlezi emanzini. Sikhalisana nesilo samabandla ongangezwe lakhe uGudweli kaBhekuzulu ngokwemukwa omunye obewudondolo lwesilo njengenkosi yesizwe ebhekele isilo. Sengathi abezokuphepha bangasheshisa uphenyo ziboshwe izigilamkhuba kanye nawofeleba abangofisha abakhulu laba abathuma lezigilamkhuba ukuba ziyofeza imisebenzi yompisholo egameni labo bona bebe behlezi bemsulwa ematafuleni acwebezelayo bekhihla izinyembezi zengwenya kanti bathi lala lilwaza sikwengule. Ngiyophakamisa kanjalo sihlalo.
Is there any objection to the motion? The motion is agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mteto.
On behalf of the African National Congress, I hereby move without notice. Note that the KwaZulu-Natal Premier Willis Mchunu on Tuesday the 6th November was confident that 85 billion investment to build a smelter park would usher in a new era characterized by employment and prosperity in the province. Further notes that the CS Smelter Park, an investment made through the BRICS Business Group of countries, was earmarked to develop a privately owned coal-fired power station, which would be built in 3 phases of 300 megawatts each. Further note that during the salt turning ceremony marking the beginning of the construction of the CS Smelter Park in Colenso, Ladysmith, the Premier said his government wanted the electricity supply sector to play a role in the provincial energy economy, and therefore congratulate the government of KwaZulu-Natal in their effort to create employment and prosperity in the province. I so move.
Is there any objection to the motion? Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Makuwe.
Thank you, House Chair. I hereby move without notice on behalf of the African National Congress that the Council notes that the Gauteng Provincial Government has intensified its efforts to unlock opportunities for young people to access employment and entrepreneurship opportunities more easily through its flagship program, SEPO 500,000. Further notes that the Premier Makura said that since the launch of SEPO 500,000 in December 2014, a total of 354,633 young people have benefited from the program. Further notes that with the support of the Harambee Youth Employment Accelerator and the commitments made by business in the recent engagement with the provincial government, Gauteng will exceed the 500,000 target and therefore congratulates the government of Gauteng and their partners in their successful program of creating employment and entrepreneurship opportunities. I so move. Thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable Chetty.
On behalf of the Democratic Alliance, I hereby move the following motion without notice, that this House condemns the illegitimate electoral processes that the eThekwini Metro Council implemented for the elections of its 110 ward committees and the election of the 39 ward committee elections in Mzinduzi due to gross negligence and improper procedures followed. Included amongst the objections submitted were change of times and venue without notice, irregular processes that allowed for citizens who did not reside in the ward or were not reflected on the voters' roll to cast their votes, failure to verify prospective candidates nominated from the floor, and intimidation, violence, and threatening behavior of residents that required the intervention of SEPs. This House requests that the Embassy of Kokta, KwaZulu-Natal, Honorable Nomusa Dube, to instruct both speakers of eThekwini and Mzinduzi to nullify the 110 eThekwini and 10 Mzinduzi ward committee elections immediately and call for fresh elections. I thank you.
Is there any objection to the motion? In light of the objection, the motion may not be proceeded with. The motion without notice will now become notice of a motion. Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge the new member from Limpopo, from the EFF, Honorable Brenda Matevula. Honorable Mukwele.
No, she didn't run. From Limpopo asked her to go and register the fingers for her to access the...
Okay.
Yes.
No, we'll formally do that when she is in the house. No, thank you. That is in order. Honorable members, order. Let me welcome the presence of the Deputy Minister of Finance, the Speaker of Mpumalanga and the Deputy Speaker of Mpumalanga, the special delegates. On behalf of the presiding officers, was so fortunate yesterday, it was Honorable Motara. Today, it's Honorable Mpambo Puwana's birthday. So, happy birthday to the two of you. The other one, a belated one. Honorable members, we now come to the first motion on the order paper as printed in the name of the Chief Whip. Chief Whip.
Chairperson of the session, thank you very, very much. Our motion, draft motion reads as follows: that the Council, subject to the concurrence of the National Assembly, extends the deadline by which the ad hoc joint committee on the appointment of board members to the National Youth Development
Fine.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. Let me start again. Our draft motion reads as follows, Chair: that the Council, subject to the concurrence of the National Assembly, extends deadline by which the ad hoc joint committee on the appointment of board members to the National Youth Development Agency be extended to the 31st March 2017, Chair. I move accordingly.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. As there is no speakers list, I shall now put the question. The question is that the motion be agreed to as the decision is dealt with in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Heads of delegations are present. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make the declaration of vote if they so wish. Thank you. We now proceed to voting. I now call upon provinces in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape support, Chair.
Free State.
Free State, Amoela, Chairperson.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal.
KwaZulu Natal agrees.
Limpopo. Mpumalanga. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape supports.
Northwest.
We concur.
Western Cape.
Chair, according to our information, this one should have been removed from the agenda, so we're going to abstain from this vote.
Okay, thank you. 8 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the motion agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Kone.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. No, I wanted to check with Honorable Nita if she's sure that this time they gave her the mandate. Thank you.
Order, members. We now come to the second motion on the order paper as printed in the name of the Chief Whip. Honorable Chief Whip.
Chairperson, thank you very much. Our second draft resolution reads as follows: that Rule 239, subsection 1, which provides inter alia that the consideration of a bill may not commence before at least 3 working days have lapsed since the committee's report was tabled, that rule be suspended for the purpose of consideration of the following bill: A, Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, B17B of 2016, the National Assembly, Section 77. B, Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, B18 of 2016, National Assembly, Section 75. C, Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendments of Revenue Laws Bill, B19 of 2016, National Assembly, Section 77. And D, Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendment of Revenue Laws Administration. That's Bill B20B of 2016, the National Assembly, Section 75. I move accordingly, Chair.
Thank you, Chief Whip. As there is no speakers list, I shall now put the question. The question is that the motion be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to voting. I'll do it in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape,
Eastern Cape supports, Chair.
Free State,
Free State, ra e dumela, Chairperson.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal,
Yavumelana naye KwaZulu-Natal.
Limpopo, Mpumalanga,
Malanga agrees.
Northern Cape,
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest,
Agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
We support.
9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the motion as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the first and second order of the day.
Consideration of Children's Amendment Bill, Bill 13B of 2015, Children's Second Amendment Bill, Bill 14B of 2015, and reports of select committees on social services thereon.
Honorable Dlamini, the chairperson of the Select Committee on Social Services.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My greetings to the Deputy Minister, to yourself, honorable members, and my special greetings go to my speaker and the deputy speaker from the most beautiful province, Honorable Shongwe and Honorable Suela. Thank you very much, Chair. Allow us as a committee to present these two bills in one report. But before saying that, Chair, just want to say that we do note the divisive tendencies of the Democratic Alliance, whereby trying to separating the Minister of Finance from the ANC, as if he's an ANC outside the ANC. We are noting that, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Dlamini, can you take your seat? Honorable Mokwele, why are you standing?
I'm standing on a point of order, Chair.
Present your point of order.
That the ministers of ANC themselves and the deputy ministers rejected the Minister of Finance. That's why other parties see it fit. Your Minister of Weekend Special incapacity as a military veteran. Yeah, you rejected him. So we are going to take him and use him.
Honorable Mokwele, that is not a point of order. Can you continue, Honorable Dlamini? No.
Must not take advantage of her being from Mpumalanga. And you are the chair from Mpumalanga. She can't address me direct. You must call her to order. Otherwise, I'll do it myself. You must tell her. She must be orderly. You must behave. Otherwise, you'll jump. I'm telling you.
Can you take your seat? Honorable members, can you also take your seat? Take your seat. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable, can you take your seat, Honorable Kaul? Honorable Mokwele. Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members. Let me make an appeal to all of you. Can we make it a point that we don't compromise the decorum of the House? I haven't recognized you. I'm still making a ruling. Can you take your seat? Honorable members. Honorable members. I'll deal with you. I'll give you an opportunity. Honorable members. Honorable members. Any member. Honorable Mutar. Honorable members. I'm appealing to all of you not to compromise the decorum of the House. Any member now who will disregard and compromise the decorum of the House, I won't even hesitate. I will make that plea and request you to leave the chamber. Let's allow Honorable Dlamini to continue. Honorable Dlamini, continue. Oh, sorry, Honorable Dlamini, let me deal with Honorable Kaul.
No, Chairperson, thank you very much. On a point of order, I also support what you are saying. But Chairperson, I think you need to call the Honorable Speaker in the podium to order. The Speaker is there to give the report of the Select Committee. And she has got to deliver the report of the Select Committee. What she started with is not part of the committee report and must be withdrawn, Chairperson, because it is not in the report of the committee. I am a member of that committee. We never dealt about what she started about.
Honorable Kaula, I'm sustaining your point of order, but I'm not requesting Honorable Dlamini to withdraw anything. I'm requesting Honorable Dlamini to focus on what you are presenting. Can you continue, Honorable Dlamini? Honorable Julius.
Honorable House Chair, not to drag issues, right? I don't want to waste time. I want to please assist you. Because when you make a ruling,
Honorable members,
when you make a ruling, you know that it becomes part of our rules.
Yes.
When you sit and make a ruling.
Yes.
So when you make a ruling, to say that a person cannot say that, and they never have to withdraw. Because in this instance, if that member will not withdraw, and next time you say, I must withdraw, why should I withdraw, and your ANC member will not withdraw?
Can you take your seat so that I assist you?
You don't want her to withdraw.
Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Hey, I know that we are left with only one day, but the mood is bad. Honorable Julius, there's nothing that was said that is offensive and unbecoming, except that Honorable Kaula is correct. Honorable Dlamini is supposed to focus on what he's supposed to be presenting, and I'm sustaining the point of order, and I'm allowing Honorable Dlamini to continue. Continue, Honorable Dlamini.
Honorable Chairperson, thank you very much again for this opportunity. I think for me, listening is a skill. I said before that, before I present the report, I did qualify my statement. Members should listen. Honorable Chair, as per the constitutional mandate, the Portfolio Committee on Social Development in the National Assembly held its public hearing on the Children's Amendment Bill, Bill 13B of 2015, and the Children's Second Amendment Bill, Bill 14 of 2015, in September 2015. And following the deliberation, passed the bill in August 2016. Both bills were then referred to the Select Committee on Social Services in the National Council of Provinces for concurrence. On the 20th of September 2016, the Select Committee on Social Services received a briefing from the Department of Social Development on the proposed amendments to Children's Amendment Bill, Bill B13 of 2015, and the Children's Second Amendment Bill, B14 of 2015. The latter was then referred to the provincial legislatures as it affects the provinces, as it is Section 76 bill, so that they can consider it. I want to take this opportunity, Honorable Chair, to thank all provincial legislatures for the good work done and honorable members for the first time that in almost all the public hearings, members of the committee attended public hearings in provinces and the cooperation that we got from provinces. We want to thank provinces very much for that. The Children's Amendment Bill, Bill 13B, 2015, sought to introduce the following main amendments. I'm only considering focusing on the main amendments. The first one is to insert a definition of sexual offense, thereby aligning the Children's Act number 38 of 2005 to the Sexual Offences Act number 32 of 2007. The second amendment is to create a deeming provision in section 120, thereby making it easier to detect adult offenders unsuitable to work with children. The third one is to amend section 150 in order to clarify the requirements for finding an orphaned or abandoned child in need for care and protection. And the last one is to amend section 152 to provide for the judicial review of a decision to remove a child without a court order. Those are the main amendments that are proposed in the first bill, Bill 13 of 2015. The Children's Second Amendment Bill, Bill 14B of 2015, sought to introduce the following main amendments. The first one is to extend the definition of adoption social worker to include social workers in the employ of the state to enable them to do adoption. As you know, Chair, that in the past, adoptions were done by private social workers, which was affecting those who are from the disadvantaged background because they were not in a position to pay. But now this is intending to include the social workers that are employed by the state. To amend section 151 and 152 so as to provide a speedy review mechanism to remove a child using an interim order and placing him or her in temporary safe care. And the next one is to amend section 171 by employing the provincial head of social development to transfer a person placed in the alternative care as a child who had remained in alternative care after having reached the age of 18 from alternative care to another. As you know, Chair, it was a problem when we came in that when a child is 18 has to leave the center. This one is trying to deal with that. To amend section 176(2)B by placing the words education and training with grade 12, higher education, further education and training, so as to clarify what was intended and in order to empower the provincial head of social development to extend an alternative care placement for persons who were still doing their secondary and tertiary education. In terms of the finalization of the Children's Amendment Bill, Bill 13B, I must say that over and above the public hearing that was done by the Portfolio Committee, we also did place adverts on the media. We did not receive any submission. Therefore, the Select Committee on Social Services, having considered the subject of the Children's Amendment Bill 13B 15, Section 75, referred to it as agreed to the bill on the 29th November 2016. Members of the Select Committee met to finalize the bill. As a result, after a series of meetings with all relevant stakeholders, all members of the Select Committees voted in favor of the Children Amendment Bill 2015. On the 22nd November 2016, the members of the Select Committee on Social Services met to present negotiating mandate. Now I'm on Bill 14B of 2015. To Social Service to meet to present negotiating mandates from provincial legislatures and to hear departmental responses to the issues raised during the public hearings in all provinces. Each province submitted its negotiating mandate regarding the Children's Second Amendment Bill
In summary, almost all of the provinces supported the bill in light of proposed amendment, except the Western Cape and Gauteng, which supported the bill on condition that their proposed amendments and consents will be considered. The Western Cape supported the bill with the following amendments and consent. On page 5 of clause 5B, the section may be understood that the children who were over 18 years old and not in grade 12 would not be able to apply for alternative care on page 2 in line 18. Delete subsection B and substitute it with subsection C, and on page 3 in line with 22 to delete subsection C and substitute it with subsection 3D. The Gauteng Provincial Legislature requested the department to take the following consent into consideration: that if the required documents were not provided by the social worker on time in a judicial setup, the matter should still be heard by the presiding officer, that the social workers should have access to the Department of Home Affairs in order to assist children who were not documented, that the department could consider moving the age of the child from 21 to 24 and have multiple disciplinary programs for the children. And lastly, foster care cases must be speeded up so that children could not become victims of those parents who just wanted to receive the foster care money and neglected the well-being of the children. The final negotiating Mondays, the Select Committee had briefings by the Department of Social Development, parliamentary legal officers, and state law advisors on the 20th of November 2016 on the bill, and the meeting on negotiating Mondays from the provincial legislatures held on the 22nd of November 2016.
Honorable Dlamini.
On the
Honorable Dlamini, sorry to disturb. Can you take your seat? Honorable Keila, it's on.
Chairperson, it's 12 minutes now.
Honorable Keila, don't repeat what you have done. Honorable Dlamini, can you try to?
On the 29th of November 2016, members of the Select Committee on Social Services met to present their respective provincial legislatures' final mandate on the Children's Second Amendment Bill, Bill 14B of 2015, as per the mandates from their respective provinces. All members of the committee voted in favor of the bill. I therefore present the two bills to the House for consideration. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in terms of the first order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed, or declaration, EFF.
They are not sure. Can we continue?
No, thank you.
I told you.
We shall now proceed to voting on the question. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain button. Have all members voted? If the member have mistakenly pressed the incorrect button, please press the correct one. Will the table staff submit the results? We're dealing with the first one. We're dealing with the first one now. 47 members voted in favor, 2 against, no abstention. The majority of members have voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in terms of the second order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. We are now dealing with the second order. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question. I shall now do it in an alphabetical order. Now it's heads of delegation. Eastern Cape,
Eastern Cape support.
Free State,
Chairperson, Free State amohetse ka diatla tse pedi.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal,
Is Natalia Klasa.
Limpopo, Mpumalanga,
Mpumalanga supports.
Northern Cape,
Northern Cape supports.
Northwest,
Northwest agrees, Chair.
Western Cape.
Die Weskaap ondersteun.
9 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable Mokwele.
With due respect, Chair, the last time I checked as a delegate from Northwest, Honorable Ntebe was delegated to become the chairperson of the certain portfolio or a select committee, and Honorable Motla Shuping was then introduced to us as a leader of delegation. So I want to check whether Honorable Ntebe has been then again deployed to the position. Because I'm asking, allow me, Chair, I need clarity from you. But allow me to finish.
I'll clarify you.
Please, allow me to finish. Don't be impatient, Chair. Because in terms of us as delegates, even if I didn't attend the last meeting of delegates, but yes, the minutes of the meeting was there. Nowhere in those minutes that said Honorable Ntebe has been reallocated to be the leader of the delegation. I just need that clarity, Chair. Thank you.
Yeah, you need a clarity. Let me clarify you. Indeed, Honorable Ntebe is the provincial whip of the Northwest Province. The secretary will read. Okay, let me take this. Yes, I'm saying Honorable Ntebe is indeed the provincial whip of the Northwest Province. So,
with due respect,
no, Honorable Mokwele.
Chair.
Honorable Mokwele. I'm not going to subject it to a discussion.
Okay, no, but
not unless it's a separate matter. I'm done with
it's
the issue of Honorable Ntebe.
No, you are intimidating me. You don't want me to participate in the House, Chair. And really, it's not fair for us. This is the only platform where we get chance to debate issues that are related to our provinces. I'm a delegate of Northwest. I'm not aware that there has been changes. So I want you to assure me that now Ntebe is again a leader of delegation, so that I can take another steps that I need to take as a delegate.
I've done that.
Thank you
I'm
very
assuring
much.
you. Honorable members, allow me to acknowledge Honorable Brenda Matevula as a new member of this August House from Limpopo. Honorable Brenda, you are welcome. Thank you. I shall now put, honorable members, the secretary will read the third and fourth order of the day.
Consideration of Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, Bill 17B, Consideration of Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill, Bill 18, and reports of select committees on finances thereof.
Honorable DPR, the chairperson of the Select Committee on Finance.
Honorable Chairperson, we can see here's a festive feeling in the House. Yeah, but it's good. Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy Minister, welcome. Honorable members, the South African tax system remains resilient in a weak economic environment. Honorable Chair, we congratulate Team South Africa, the National Treasury led by the Minister of Finance and the Deputy Minister of Finance in their endeavors to avoid a ratings downgrade. Chairperson, it proves we can work together if we have an objective to work for. Yes, led by an ANC-led government. The 2016 tax proposals are aligned with broader goals of reducing inequality, developing skills, encouraging environmental sustainability, and promoting public health. National Treasury Chair proposed a number of tax increases in the 2016 budget review. The tax proposals...
Honorable DPR. Honorable members, in terms of Rule 37, let me remind you what is Rule 37 saying. The officer presiding may order a member to leave the chamber immediately for the remainder of the day sitting if the officer presiding is of the opinion that the member's conduct is grossly disorderly, or of the member is in contempt or regarding the authority of the chair. Can you continue, Honorable DPR?
Honorable Chairperson, I propose that the honorable members from the EFF listen because the bill affects everyone in South Africa. The tax proposals, Honorable Chair, form part of government's fiscal measures.
Honorable DPR. Honorable Mukwele.
With due respect, I want to participate in the House. I don't want you to invoke Rule 37 on me. But what this white guy is saying to us is totally out of order. I would kindly request that the Honorable Member DPR, sorry for calling you a white guy, I withdraw.
Honorable Mukwele, before you can finish.
I withdraw the white guy.
Oh no, Honorable Mukwele, before, can you leave the House, please? Honorable Mukwele, can you leave the House? Can you leave the chamber? Honorable Mukwele, can you leave the chamber? I'm dealing with Honorable Mukwele. I'll come back to you. Let me finish that one. Can you leave the House? Honorable members. Honorable members. Honorable members, I made a plea to all of you about the decorum of the House. And heckling is allowed, but you can't drown the speaker. There are lots that are going to follow Honorable Mokwele. Can you continue, Honorable DPR?
Honorable Chairperson, South Africa belongs to all who live in it black and white. God created all of us. It stands in the Bible.
Honorable DPR. No, can you take a seat? I want to deal with Honorable DPR.
Please note me after
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
you promised to note me after
Yes.
dealing with Honorable
Yes.
Mokwele and you did not.
Honorable DPR, don't get the temptations to deal with an issue that I've made a ruling. And I've dealt with that issue, and my ruling is still standing. Honorable Kone.
Can you please tell the land thief to not to address me directly, but to address me through you, Chairperson, because this man who never fetched water from the river with a bucket, this man who does not even know how to push a wheelbarrow must not address me directly.
Honorable-
He must address me through you.
Honorable,
Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable,
And he
Honorable
mi-
Kone.
And
Honorable-
Chairperson must not even address me because I do not feature anywhere in finances. The ANC
Can you withdraw
gave
the
him
part
to-
that you are referring to the honorable member as the land thief? Can you withdraw that part?
the former member of the National
Ngithi,
Party.
can you withdraw the part of referring to the honorable member as a land
I
thief?
withdraw the truth that the member is a land thief. I withdraw that
Honorable
truth.
Kone.
I withdraw that truth.
Can you withdraw unconditionally in
I
terms of our
withdraw
rules?
the truth unconditionally that he's a land thief. Thank you.
Can you continue, Honorable DPR?
The tax proposals, Chair, from part of government's fiscal measures aimed at narrowing the budget deficit and stabilizing debt growth. National Treasury expected to raise additional 18.1 billion rand in the 2016-17 financial year. The 2016 MTBBS highlighted that the gross tax revenue shortfall was now estimated at 23 billion in the current financial year. The 2016 Taxation Laws Amendment Bill, or the TLAB, give effect to the tax proposals tabled by the Minister of Finance in February 2016. The National Treasury Chair and the South African Revenue Service, SARS, briefed the Select Committee on Finance on the draft bills on the 24th of August 2016. During this meeting, members of the committee deliberated that the tax legislation and tax incentives should take South Africa's development agenda into consideration, particularly the interest of the small, medium and micro enterprises. The National Treasury should guard against over-regulation and the burden it puts on implementation of the proposed legislation. The industry should be consulted before tax proposals are brought to Parliament. That municipalities should be considered individually as some are income generating, whilst the smaller ones are not. With regard to venture capital, National Treasury should be careful that big companies do not fleece smaller ones by extending their own businesses and taking more than 50% of the incentives. The role of the public benefit organization needed to be reshaped in all sectors and not only human settlements. On the 21st of September 2016, the National Treasury and SARS briefed the Select Committee on Finance jointly with the Standing Committee on Finance on the summary of responses to comments received on the bills. Key amongst the committee deliberations was that the National Treasury should consider the unintended consequences of implementing the legislation and the revenue implications to the fiscus. The committee further noted that ideally taxation bills should be passed 6 months after the national budget tabling. The Minister of Finance then tabled the two bills in Parliament on the 26th of October during the MTBBS process. The Treasury and SARS briefed the committee again on the 2016 bills on the 30th of November 2016. In considering the bill, the committee have taken into consideration the briefings by the National Treasury and SARS referred to above, the outcomes of the public participation processes conducted by the National Treasury and Finance, as well as the responses provided by the National Treasury on issues raised by the committee members and the public. Honourable Chairperson, if we do not achieve growth, revenue will not increase. If revenue does not increase, expenditure cannot be expanded. That's the reality. We commend the engagement between government, business, and labour, working together in different programs to enhance economic growth. Chairperson, the key issues contained in the Taxation Laws Amendment Bill include the following: the employment tax incentive. This incentive is to increase the overall employment and the level of job experience for the youth. The government shares the cost of employment of eligible workers aged between 18 and 29 and earn above the minimum minimum wage between 1,000 and 6,000 rand per month through a credit against employees' tax to be paid over by the employer to SARS. The annual cap of 20 million rand on the claim allowed to each employer was introduced, but after public inputs were made, it was removed from the bill. The effective date is the 1st of March 2017. The learnership tax incentive aim is to encourage skills development. The value of the incentive is a deduction of 30,000 rand on the commencement of a learnership agreement between an employer and the employee, and another 30,000 upon completion of the studies of a training. These values increase by 20,000 rand if the learner is a person with a disability. Agreements with learners who have basic to intermediate skills levels and qualifications-related agreements to receive a larger deduction. The policy proposals is in line with achieving the NDP, the National Development Plan goal of producing 30,000 artisans annually. Chair, other major amendments in the bill refer to amending the following acts: the Transfer Duty Act, the Estate Duty Act, the Income Tax Act, the VAT Act, the Skills Development Levies Act, the Unemployment Insurance Contributions Act, the Securities Transfer Act, and the Mineral and Petroleum Resources Royalty Act. The bill also includes introducing measures, to prevent tax avoidance through the use of trusts, addressing the circumstances of rules dealing with employment-based share incentive schemes, addressing the double non-taxation arising from cross-border hybrid debt instruments, tax treatment of long-term insurers due to the introduction of solvency assessment management, they call it SAM, providing relief for mining companies spending on infrastructure for the benefit of mining communities, employer-provided bursaries for employees or their relatives. Chair, now go to the Tax Administration Laws Amendment Bill. This bill includes the following: alternative documentary proof of VAT input tax claims. The amendment provides for a ruling process for alternative documentary proof that may be used as a last resort. Also, the mineral and petroleum royalty payments. Then, very important, Chairperson, amendments to enhance the tax ombuds independence, namely to extend the term of the tax ombud to 5 years. The tax ombud will appoint staff directly in terms of the SAS Act without secondment or consultation with the Commissioner. The tax ombud mandate was further extended to review the systematic or emerging issues on own initiative with approval of the Minister. A 30-day is inserted to provide reasons for not accepting the tax ombud's recommendation. Chairperson, the Select Committee for Finance reports that it has agreed to the bills without amendments. I thank you.
That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in terms of the third order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. DA? declaration of vote. They are political parties.
Great. Chairperson, yes, thank you again.
And it's strictly 3 minutes.
Yes, absolutely. I promise you I'll be finished sooner than that. Honorable Chairperson, the sincere plea from ordinary South African taxpayers is that the taxes raised nationally be spent responsibly, legally, and of course, to the benefit of all South Africans. It is for this reason that we in the DA welcomes the employment tax incentive for the next 2 years. This incentive creates a kickstart into the job market and of course gives the opportunity to many of our youth to enter the job market, further providing skills, experience, and dignity to many underprivileged South Africans. We are indeed pleased, Chairperson, that our proposal of removing the 20 million rand cap per employer was removed by the Select Committee of Finance. We support the bill. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. These bills before the House intends to adjust various rates of different taxes, such as income tax, transfer, and custom duties. But more important, the bills also propose to re-establish a special voluntary disclosure program, a program that allows people hiding assets offshore to disclose and pay negotiated taxes of these assets without facing prosecution. As the EFF, we view this program as reactionary and not the way forward. While there are no easy methods to calculate capital flight and illicit financial flows, a prominent 2005 study found that capital flight and illicit financial flows in South Africa average 6.6% of GDP since 1980. This honorable Chairperson amount to well over 200 billion, money that is lost every year through financial crimes. A leakage and a threat to our fiscal stability is preventable. Money that can fund free higher education, can fund national health insurance, decent housing, water infrastructure, and deliver quality services to our people. As the economic freedom fighters, we asked the Minister of Finance in March this year as to how much SARS collected in revenue in all previous voluntary disclosure programs since 2012. To our shock and disbelief, only 6.3 billion was collected since 2012. When one considers the 200 billion that is lost every year through illicit financial flows, this is just a drop in the ocean. We have proposed the following practical solutions as a way forward. The National Treasury and SARS must immediately look into an Anti-Tax Avoidance Act. There is a need for a commission of inquiry in terms of Section 84(2)(e) of the Constitution to investigate illicit financial flows since 1994. I stop there.
Thank you. ANC.
Thanks, Chairperson. The ANC supports the tax employment, the employment tax incentive. We believe that without legislative amendments, the employment tax incentive would cease to operate from the 1st of January 2017. The legislative change proposes an extension of the incentive, which will provide continued support for employment of youth and allow for the collection of more data and further in-depth analysis into the effectiveness of the incentive. After discussions with labor and business which took place in NEDLAC, it was felt that a 2-year extension would provide sufficient time to meet these objectives while allowing government to closely monitor the fiscal impact. The income eligibility bracket was chosen to more effectively target the incentive towards the youth with fewer skills who were less likely to gain employment. As wages increase for those below the ages of 30, it is more likely that these youth have some skills and are more attractive to employers, implying that they are more likely to be employed. And lastly, in the light of high levels of inequality in South Africa, an increase in both transfer duty inclusion rate and capital gains tax inclusion rate is based on equity reasons and also to protect the personal income tax base. In other countries like Australia, for instance, the CGT inclusion rate is 100% for companies and 50% for other taxpayers. So we really believe that these amendments to the tax laws are critical for us to invest in the growth of our economy. Thanks.
Thank you. UTM.
Chairperson, thank you. The UDM supports the bill. However, we want to raise a concern. The rate that our economy is at a slow rate of the growth of our economy. And we further would like to urge the Department of Finance to give more incentives to the SMMEs. And lastly, Chairperson, we urge Treasury to plow more money, more funds into small municipalities because they have no revenue base. I thank you.
Thank you. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain buttons. Have all members voted? If any member have mistakenly pressed the incorrect button, please press the correct one. If you have, it will record the last one that you have pressed. If you want the correct one to be the last one. Voting will close. Could I get the results? Forty-three members voted in favor, 2 voted against, and 1 abstention. The majority of members have voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in terms of the fourth order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. We are now dealing with the fourth order. In accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make their declaration of votes if they so wish. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against. Honorable Isaac? Yes, I requested declaration. I thought we don't have declarations. No, I'm sorry. Sorry, honorable members. Let's not get to the voting. Let's allow the DA to do the declaration.
You're doing it on purpose.
Eh? No, we'll start it afresh. I'm sorry. Let us be alert, members. But have your opportunity.
You must check, Chairperson.
Also assist.
You've got very good medical aid for glasses.
Honorable Isaac, it's your
Chairperson,
turn.
thank you. Yes, if I may continue. Chairperson, the low take-up of the ETI by small businesses has been disappointing. It is therefore vital that the National Treasury ensures that SARS implement a system whereby employers are able to claim the ETI benefits if they do not have an employee's tax liability from which they can then deduct the ETI. We believe that this will go a long way to ensure the ETI is taken up then by more small businesses. In addition to the creation of jobs, this must then surely encourage the growth of small businesses also. We are pleased that our more stringent reporting regime by the Minister was accepted and has been included in the administration bill. In order to ensure that the maximum number of jobs for our unemployed youth are created, it is important that the implementation of the ETI is monitored throughout its existence and is not just evaluated when it comes to an end. The DA welcomes the inclusion of personal service companies as part of the small business tax provisions. The hope that more land reform projects completed in order to address the vital land reform imperatives are also followed through. In conclusion, Chairperson, I would like to point out that the land reform, despite the land rhetoric from the ANC, has all but stalled under the ANC regime led by President Zuma. In conclusion, finally, Chairperson, the DA supports the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other political party? Thank you. We now proceed to voting members. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain buttons. Have all members voted? Okay. Voting will close. In favor. Can I have the results? Forty-seven members voted in favor. No member voted against, one abstention. The majority of members have voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the fifth and the sixth order of the day.
Consideration of rates and monetary amounts and amendment to revenue laws bill B19/2016 and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon. Consideration of rates and monetary amounts and amendment of revenue laws administration bill B20/2016 and report of Select Committee on Finance thereon.
The Honorable DPR, Chairperson of the Select Committee on Finance.
Honorable Chairperson, the rates bill contains adjustments to the tax rates and monetary amounts that were announced in the 2016 budget by the Minister of Finance. It includes the increases in the amounts of the bottom three personal income tax brackets, an increase in the primary rebate for individuals, an additional tax bracket for the transfer duty rate, increases in the excise duties for alcohol and tobacco, and the introduction of an environmental levy on tires. The rates bill also provides for an additional voluntary disclosure relief known as the Special Voluntary Disclosure Program, also called the SVPD. This is aimed at providing a further opportunity for non-compliant taxpayers who still have undisclosed assets abroad to voluntarily disclose their offshore assets and income before the new global common reporting standard takes effect from September 2017. The bill moves away from the need to calculate seed capital and investment returns as originally proposed and instead requires only one amount to be determined. Applicants would need to calculate the highest aggregate value of all their assets between the 1st of March 2010 and the 28th of February 2015 that were derived from undeclared income. In order to encourage uptake of the SVPD, the inclusion rate is reduced from 50 to 40% of the highest aggregate value, which will be included in the taxable income and subject to tax in South Africa. Undeclared income that was received that made up the undisclosed aggregate value would be exempt from income tax, estate duty, and donations tax, but any other further income would be subsequently taxed. The rates bill also makes provision for the imposition of a tire levy as a replacement for the free for tire recycling that is already in place with a more transparent tax and revenue collection and allocation process. The rates bill postpones the implementation date for the tire levy from the 1st of October 2016 to the 1st of February 2017. The bill also provides for exemption of retreaded tires for passenger vehicles and light commercial vehicles. Mr. Chair, I now move to the rates and monetary amounts of amendment of revenue laws, the administration bill. The administration bill makes provision for the administrative matters relating to the SVPD, the Special Voluntary Disclosure Program. It sets out the conditions, the window period for applications, reduction in penalties, and reporting requirements for the SVPD. In order to allow more time for applications, the window period for applications for relief under the SVPD has been extended starting the 1st of October 2016 and closing the 31st of August 2017. The Rates Administration Bill also makes provision for the Minister to report to Parliament on the progress of the SVPD. Honourable Chairperson, the Select Committee for Finance report that it has agreed to the bills without amendments. Thank you, Chair. I so move.
Thank you. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in terms of the fifth order. We're dealing with the fifth order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 63, I shall first allow political parties to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. The Democratic Alliance.
Chairperson, I thank you again for the opportunity. The Democratic Alliance, Chairperson, the Democratic Alliance objects to the following section in the Rates and Monetary Amounts and Amendment of Revenue Laws Bill. Section 2 specifically, we object to the increase of transfer duty for transactions above 10 million. On Section 7, we object to the increase of capital gains inclusion rate of controlled foreign companies from 33.3% to 40%. And on Section 12, we object to the increase in the inclusion rate of taxable capital gains and assessed capital losses for individuals and personal trusts from 33.3% to 40%. Companies and other up from 66.6% to 80% respectively. While as much of the bill consists of the normal annual adjustments, there are, Chairperson, some significant tax increases. Sections 2, 7, and 12, which I've so aptly pointed out. And based on these, we believe that there should be no tax increases. Furthermore, regarding the Special Voluntary Disclosure Program, Chairperson, we would highlight that there is no person who really knows how much money is hidden abroad. The inclusion rate of 40% is, of course, way too high and will discourage disclosures, especially when combined with the South African Reserve Bank penalties. The DA, Chairperson, opposes the bill on the tax increases therein and the further pressures now created to provide an environment conducive to job creation in South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you. EFF.
Thank you, Chairperson. This is done without a shred of evidence on how this tool actually increases employment or addresses the chronic problem of unemployment in our country. The only true benefit of this incentive is very big business that enjoys proximity to national treasury. With this incentive, we are on our knees legalizing the bribery of private capital, begging for them to develop the economy. The employment tax incentive is based on a false notion that unemployment in South Africa is due to lack of skills. Thus, the solution is to bribe companies to provide the supposed skill. This is not only abdication of responsibility to educate and train the youth, but government is literally saying to business, we will take taxpayers' money to pay for wages, you can just make profits. This is the same big business with no interest to develop the country, and that is engaged in aggressive tax avoidance and illicit financial flows. It is the same big business that gets taxed low in an effort to appease it to expand and create jobs. For the last 22 years, jobs have not come because no one possessed and driven by the desire to maximize profit, and greed will ever act in the interest of uplifting the unemployment. 47.6% of youth aged 20 to 25 are not employed. in school of being trained and is so more than 52% of female youth in the same group, age group. It clearly illustrates that in terms of job creation for young people, the ANC government post-1994 has been confused, misguided, and truly mediocre. So how do you make an economy provide a sustainable job? The first structural problem you must resolve is the anti-black ownership of credit. Until you have a bank that is willing to lend billions of rands to talented black entrepreneurs with real ideas, South African banks control our ability as a nation to borrow from our own future. They don't care that millions of black entrepreneurs have not shorties. Thus, they don't care that, bring back our land. So you need a state bank that all state departments and corporations bank with, run efficiently and independently, that will lend money to blacks for new industry to emerge. Secondly, you need to take our minds back and use all the proceeds to divert the industry, because on its own it has refused. Thirdly, you need to invest in agriculture by expropriating agrarian land for equal redistribution. Our secret to job creation lies here. After you give the land across to farmers, then protect them massively, subsidy. With this, you will be guaranteed of quality jobs, not just from farmers, like the one who's sitting in front of me, but right through the food chain.
Any other political party? Okay, it's UTM or it's only ANC? Or UTM?
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson,
Honorable Keller, can you take your seat? Let me deal with Julius. Honorable Julius. No, there's not a point of order. Honorable Julius.
You recognize.
Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius, let me assist you. Honorable Julius, can you take your seat? Honorable Julius. Honorable Mlambo. Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius, the last declaration, the last person to do a declaration was Honorable Kayla, and it's not a problem. And people just raise hands. Honorable Kayla, can you do your declaration? Honorable Kayla.
can I start with the point of order, Chairperson?
Honorable Kayla.
Can I start with a point of order, please?
No, can you do a declaration?
I got a point of order as well.
We're dealing with declaration.
Must I start with it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Chairperson, can you? The UTM supports the bill for the following reasons. Can you protect me? Chairperson, can you protect me when...
You are protected, Chair.
You said you want order in the House, but you're not consistent. Honorable Julius is doing what Honorable Mkwele was doing.
Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Honorable Julius. Honorable, we are protected, Honorable Kayla.
Chairperson, the UTM supports a bill for the following reasons. For too long, big business has been hiding and avoiding to pay taxes in properties overseas. For too long, monies have been hidden in trust for the big cats not to pay taxes. That is why we are supporting this bill, because the big cats must pay taxes. We cannot allow a situation where people hide their monies overseas and avoid to pay taxes, and yet the poor people of this country, who are in the majority, are forced to pay taxes. Lastly, Chairperson, we would urge Treasury also to deal with the foreigners who don't pay taxes, who take their monies out in suitcases out of South Africa. It is high time that they pay taxes in this country. I thank you.
Thank you. ANC.
Well, thanks, Chair. In the same breath of the UDM, I think the ANC agrees that the Section 2, the increase in the transfer duty rates on property sales above 10 million rands from 11% to 13%, and Section 7 and 12, increase inclusion rate of capital gains of individuals from 33% to 40%, and for companies from 66.6% to 80%. I think it's important to understand in context what the Minister of Finance raised when presenting the medium-term budget as a broad policy statement. That will do this not at the back of the poor. So it's important that the interests of the poor and the working people is also protected. This navigates carefully in terms of what is it that the country can do under the constrained environment. So the issue of inequality in South Africa is a reality, and it has to be addressed. Key points that the minister raised, among others, says we need to attend to the issue of inclusive growth. We need to attend to the issue of macroeconomic and fiscal framework, which set limits to government debt and expenditure, supporting stronger public and private sector investment, raise the issue of transformation that rests on partnership between all stakeholders who share our commitment to inclusiveness in our development path, that the national dialogue to seek common solutions and concrete action to slow growth and poverty has to be intensified. So this sets out a very important, sets out an environment conducive that our growth and development should take place. So the ANC supports these amendments.
Thank you. Any other political party? I thought declaration of TA has been done.
Yes, but just on a point of order, Chairperson.
Okay, let me take the point of order.
I apologize, Chairperson, but it's just breaking news while we're busy on the taxation bill that the Guptas have officially just gained a legal order to take 180,000 rand worth of equipment from the EFF, which the Guptas gave the EFF for reneging. So I just thought I'd point it out, Chairperson.
We now proceed. Honorable Kone.
Honorable Esak must stop misleading the House and the country, because
No,
it's
that is
Helen
not
Zille who received money from the Guptas. She even wrote a letter to thank them. EFF never received a thing from those monsters. EFF does not eat curry. Thank you,
Can you take
Chairperson.
a seat? Honorable members, we shall now proceed to the voting on the question. Honorable Isaac. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain. Let us vote. Is the system not working? Okay. In favor, against, or abstain? Have all members voted? If any member have mistakenly pressed the incorrect button, the last one will be recorded as the correct one. Let's get to the results. Yeah, let's finish the process. No, we're dealing with voting now. We're not taking, we'll deal with any other issue after dealing with the results. Uh, 36 members voted in favor, 13 voted against, 0 abstention. The majority of members have voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. Honorable Harting.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, there were now a number of attempts to attack the decorum of this House this morning, and you have acted and removed a member. But I believe that a very derogatory mark has now been leveled at some of our colleagues here, which should be withdrawn. And it's also like the honourable member said, she's on national TV, to shout to members, we don't eat curry, is derogatory and should be withdrawn.
Honourable members, I wouldn't want to subject this House to dealing with what I missed. And I'm confirming that I'll be very consistent, Honourable Harting. If anything is being said and I might have missed it, at that point, alert me and I'll deal with it accordingly. I shall now put the question in terms of the sixth order. The question is that the bill be agreed to. Now we're dealing with the sixth order. In accordance with Rule 63, I shall allow political parties to make their declaration of vote if they so wish. We're dealing with the fifth order, now we're dealing with the sixth one. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. Members will vote by pressing in favor, against, or abstain. Have all members voted? Could the table staff submit the results? The sixth. Can I have the results? Thank you. 43 members voted in favor, 1 against, and also 1 abstention. The majority of members have voted in favor. I therefore declare the bill as agreed to in terms of Section 75 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the seventh order of the day. Secretary.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Communications and Public Enterprises, International Telecommunications Regulations 2012 with explanatory memorandum.
Honorable Prince, the Chairperson of the Select Committee of Communications and Public Enterprises.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The Select Committee on Communications and Public Enterprises having considered
Honorable Prince,
and thoroughly...
sorry, can you take your seat? Honorable Kony, why are you standing?
Can my loving chairperson of my progressive committee please address us standing up on the podium? Thank you.
Honorable, that is not a point of order.
Thank
Continue,
you, Chairperson.
Honorable
I do
Prince.
understand. She loved me so much that she need to say something.
Honorable Prince, Honorable Smith.
Honorable House Chair, I want to hear whether it's permitted for Honorable Member to eat in the House, because I see our Chief Whip is eating in the House.
It's not permitted, Honorable Smith. Can you continue, Honorable Prince?
Chairperson, thank you. The Select Committee on Communications and Public Enterprises having considered and thoroughly interrogated the International Agreement on International Telecommunication Regulations 2012 on 30 November 2016, which to report as follows. It was imperative to us as we scrutinized the International Telecommunications Regulations Agreement, that we make sure that it is in compliance with our constitutional provisions and is indeed in line with our developmental objectives. This we did, fully aware that as a country we are part of the fast-paced and ever-evolving global information technology movement, to which we must always keep abreast of developments. Firstly, the National Development Plan requires the country to have an efficient information communication technology infrastructure that promotes economic growth with a reliable broadband and telecommunications network services that are accessible to all. Accessibility and affordability can be a tricky business if the question of prices is not properly addressed. Cost to communicate and roaming prices in the country are still high and could be a stumbling block to an inclusive economy. Perhaps a time frame on reducing costs to communicate is needed if we are so firmly claim our status as a proud, progressive and developing country. Chairperson, the International Communications Regulations Agreement, in our view, is a progressive treaty depending of course how we as country interpret it to suit our local conditions. The treaty is meant to address the following among other issues: quality of service responding to International Telecommunications Union standards, promoting transparency to international roaming prices, promotion to telecommunication services to 650 million persons living with disabilities globally, to encourage the provision of caller line identification information, dissemination of national emergency numbers to visitors of tourists, promotion of regional telecommunication traffic exchange. The treaty came at an opportune time as the Republic is currently engaged on the integrated ICT policy white paper. The white paper is a review of policies in the ICT sector following the developments and the threats set out by the internet, social media, broadband, as well as the equitable use of the frequency spectrum, etc. This is an indication that as a country we are not mere spectators but active participants in the global information communication technology movement that is key in connecting nations, individuals, families, and companies around the world. As a committee, when we engaged the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services, we raised a number of issues around ICT infrastructure, private sector investment, cost of communicate, the equitable use of the spectrum, and the country's status in space satellite. We all know that investment in information technology infrastructure is a cross-cutting phenomenon involving diverse role players, both private and public, as well as different sectors. That cooperation and understanding between all the relevant stakeholders will truly transform our telecommunications sector, whilst also improving services to better the lives of our people. Chairperson, in closing, we were, however, content by the response from the department with the understanding that the rectification of the International Telecommunications Regulations is therefore not an end in itself, but part and parcel of an ongoing process to position our country in the region, the continent, and globally as one of the leading key players amongst developing countries. I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 7.1, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make declaration of vote if they so wish. Western Cape.
Thank you, Chairperson. On the face of it, the regulations in the International Telecommunications Regulations Treaty are technical in nature A paragraph in the preamble to the treaty records as follows: Member states affirm their commitment to implement these regulations in a manner that respects and upholds their human rights obligations. Chairperson, herein lies the problem for South Africa. The controversy at the Dubai talks in December 2015, which focused on the late inclusion of Article 5B, the prevention of propagating unsolicited bulk electronic communications, or spam. For governments to control spam, they need to have insight into the email's content. This clause could potentially give them the right to then censor information and stop its distribution. Internet governance activists in South Africa joined the international colleagues in saying that governments have no role to play in the content of communications and their distribution. Last year, South Africa signed a seemingly benevolent ICT pact with China, a world leader in the suppression of internet access and cyber espionage. However, the signatures on this document were eradicated for security reasons. For what reasons, we ask? In July, South Africa voted against the United Nations Human Rights Council resolution that commit member states to protect human rights, such as freedom of expression and privacy on the internet. It rejected this resolution because, in the words of our permanent representative to the United Nations office in Geneva, the exercise of the right to freedom of opinion and expression is not absolute and carries with it duties and responsibilities for right holders. South African watchdogs on infringements of human rights now have a watching brief on any creeping encroachments to internet freedoms that the ratification of this treaty hands to our government. The Western Cape do not support this treaty.
Any other province? Thank you. We shall now proceed to voting on the question. I shall do this in alphabetical order per province. Eastern Cape?
Eastern Cape support. I don't know, we've also been using this electronic way of voting, so I thought that will continue that way, because I've already voted using it.
Doesn't make any difference. Free State?
Free State vote in favor, Chair.
Gauteng?
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu Natal?
In favor.
Limpopo? Mpumalanga? Northern Cape? Northwest?
We accept, Chair.
Western Cape?
We do not support.
8 provinces voted in favor. I therefore declare the report as agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Sorry, Honorable Prince. Let me take Honorable
Mr. Chair, thank you very much. I just want to confirm with you, is it?
Honorable Prince.
Thank you, Honorable House Chairperson. The Select Committee on Communications and Public Enterprises, having considered and thoroughly interrogated the International Agreement on World Radio Communication Conference 2015 on 30 November 2016, which to report as follows. The purpose of the rectification of the World Radio Communication Conference is to review and revise radio regulations in order to reflect the latest technological developments, as well as to respond to changing markets, demands, and services, including specific spectrum requirements. In the context of our country, we have more than 50 commercial radio stations, as well as more than 100 community radio stations. This includes the specific spectrum requirements of the square kilometer area under the auspices of the Department of Science and Technology. This is in itself is an indication that as a country we cannot be passive about developments in the global broadcasting and communication sector if we are to serve our people in line with global communication standards. The radio regulations of the agreement provide an agreed framework of rights, obligations, and procedures applicable between countries in their many uses of the radio frequency spectrum. However, South Africa reserves the right to structure its own national radio frequency plan to suit the country's national requirements. The integrated ICT policy white paper has in fact taken into account some of these developments and makes bold to clarify the equitable equitable use of the spectrum in serving the country's development agenda. The document reads as follows: the policy will continue to recognize that there is a need for the allocation of adequate radio frequency spectrum to enable the provision of free and to air and other broadcasting activities in recognition of the important role that broadcasting plays in fostering democracy. Whilst we were interrogating the treaty as presented to us by the department, it became quite clear to us that as a country we will need all the resources to our disposal if we are to really make a meaningful impact on these treaties, as the agenda of the international community oftentimes is geared to suit the needs of developed countries to the exclusion of developing countries. Chairperson, as a committee, we were alarmed when we were told of a consensus by exhaustion, whereby discussions will run for hours until delegates are exhausted. At this point, it becomes easy for delegates to agree on anything as their bodies and mental capacity can no more endure the discomfort of endless discussions. This, however, does not surprise us, but confirm the idea that the global telecommunications sector is as lucrative as any revenue-generating market, and the stake will always be high. In closing, let me make it clear that our objectives in the rectifying the World Radio Communication Conference as a committee has been to ensure that as a binding treaty, it should not do so in a way that will improve telecommunication services for the benefit of our people and also put on par with the rest of the developed world. I so move.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Honourable Members, that concludes the debate. I shall not put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces the opportunity to make their declarations before they vote, if they so wish. Does any province wish to make a declaration? None. We shall then proceed to the vote. I shall ask provinces in the alphabetical orders to vote, and I call on the Eastern Cape.
Nkosi hlala ngaphambili lobekekileyo siyayixhasa le ngxelo.
Thank you, sir. Free State.
Ke a leboha modulasetulo Free State e a amohela.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu-Natal.
Support.
Limpopo. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga agrees.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest.
We accept, Chair.
Western Cape.
We agree.
Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the question has been agreed to. I shall then ask the Secretary to read the next order.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Security and Justice, Oversight visit to Pollsmoor Correctional Facility on 26 October 2016.
Thank you very much. The Honourable Qimbi.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you for the opportunity. Chairperson, the Select Committee on Security and Justice set a target to determine the extent to which the Department of Correctional Services complied with the matters raised by Judge Cameroon in his report on Pollsmoor Correctional Center, Remand Center, and Women's Center, and as a result conducted an oversight visit of Pollsmoor Correctional Service Center on the 26th of October 2016. Chairperson, observations with regard to improvements at the facility. 1, TB lights. They were installed in all areas as a preventative measure to combat the spread of tuberculosis. 2, exercise. Inmates were given an hour of exercise, but due to the overcrowding, not all inmates received their hour of exercise every day. The facility managed to provide the hour of exercise every second day to inmates. 3, laundry. The department confirmed that clothing was washed on a daily basis. The department indicated that the bulk washing machine was out of order for 2 years due to the parts not being available to fix the machine. The department confirmed that the facility can currently only wash 800 blankets per month because it had to relocate the laundry from its original location. The department indicated that the other prisons in the area assisted with laundry washing. Food production and nutrition. BOSAS is contracted to provide nutrition services. Inmates also assist with cleaning of equipment. Primary health care facility. The primary health care facility has 103 patients. It recorded 21 male circumcision. It has 27 physiatric patients and 13 infectious TB patients, and a further 18 non-infectious TB patients. The healthcare facility has 12 staff members. 1 doctor attends Monday to Friday. An HIV doctor attends every Tuesday, and the physiatrists attend every Thursday. A dentist also attends once a week. A chairperson, Women's Center. The Women's Center consists of 692 offenders, 341 remand detainees, 116 on-duty officials, and bed space of 329, whilst the unlocked totally is 692. There are only 22 bed spaces available, but 101 offenders are sharing these beds. Severe overcrowding was observed with 1 toilet, wash basin, and shower for inmates accommodating in the center, and a broken. Since Cameroon visit, efforts have been made to move some female inmates to previous occupied males areas within the prison. Chairperson, a presentation by the department about the overcrowding. The Pollsmoor prison facility has a high number of offenders that do not qualify to bail. Courts do not grant bail for detainees that are linked to gangs or have committed Schedule 7 offenses. Cape Town is the most violent city in South Africa and is 9th in the world of most violent cities. The effect of high crime, therefore, impacts on increasing levels of overcrowding. There is an overcrowding task team which has been appointed to review the matter nationally. The National Commissioner confirmed that the only foreign nationals held in Pollsmoor were those convicted of crime activities. The department confirmed that there were no detainees for deportation held in Pollsmoor. Chairperson, 9 area commissions for the Western Cape region presented to the committee on their respective areas and correctional centers. The area commissioner reported that all their facilities experience some level of overcrowding. The national commissioner acknowledged all facilities were overcrowded. The Western Cape was up on remand detainees. There were 18,000 inmates 15 years ago, but currently the inmates population is 159,000 in 2016. The increase is attributed to the prevalence of drugs and sociality, the social economic situation and gangsterism. Chairperson, those are the recommendations of the committee. The committee requested the department to supply the committee with the following information after adoption of this report by the National Council of Provinces. The department must report on the incomplete matters raised previously in the Cameroon report to the committee within 3 months of the adoption of this report by the National Council of Provinces. Chairperson, the department must report within 14 days of the adoption of this report by the National Council of Provinces. 1, the department's policy and strategy to combat gangsterism in correctional centers. The department must reply in writing on the strategy to combat smuggling in correctional service centers. The committee requires a report on a filling of vacancies and require an assessment from the department what has been done to date address the matter. The committee further requested that the department takes remedial action to assist managers who fail to fill vacancies. The Department of Correctional Services must implement the Code of Conduct of the Department of Correctional Services with regard to a Deputy Commissioner of Department that represented the Solidarity Union at the United Nations and spoke the department in contravention of the establishment policy. The committee requires a report within 14 days of the adoption of the report by the National Council of Provinces on progress made by the department in consultation with South African Police Service to assist with the incarcerations and care for remand detainees by the SAPS to alleviate the overcrowding at the correctional center. Chairperson, the committee agreed to engage the SAPS on the prevention of crime strategies in the country. Therefore, Chairperson, the Select Committee on Security and Justice, having considered this report, recommends that the National Council of Provinces approve the report. So, thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, sir. Honorable members, this concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that the report be agreed to. I shall allow for provinces which so wish to make declarations before we proceed. Does any province wish to make a declaration? The Honorable Lont. Western Cape.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Western Cape supports any initiative to accelerate intervention at the Pollsmoor Correctional Facility. The conditions at this facility are inhumane and very little has changed since the release of the Cameron Commission's report. What is happening at this facility is a clear violation of human rights on the part of the government. However, as we have argued in the Select Committee, the report does not deal with all the recommendations made by Judge Cameron, which is of a serious concern. What is equally concerning was the National Commissioner's remark during the debriefing session that individuals working for the department may not criticize the government that pays their salary and therefore may not point out issues within the department. This does not only amount to intimidation, but also to politicization of a role that should otherwise be exercised impartially. The Western Cape supports the report in as far as it encourages urgent change at the Pollsmoor Correctional Facility. But as it is, this report is lacking with regards to the real objective of the oversight based on the Cameron report, and overreaching with regards to other issues that are not related to the prison conditions at all. In the light thereof, the Western Cape will continue to support initiatives that are aimed at improving the conditions at Pollsmoor, but cannot support this report in its current form.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other province? None. I shall therefore proceed to the voting on the question, and I will do this in alphabetical order. The Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, iyayixhasa le ngxelo.
The Free State.
Free State vote in favor, Chair.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KZN,
KZN support.
Limpopo,
Limpopo support.
Mpumalanga,
Mpumalanga supports.
Northern Cape, Northwest,
We agree, Chair.
the Western Cape,
Chair, we do not support the report in its current form.
Thank you, sir. Honorable members, all 9 provinces have voted. 8 provinces have voted in favor, and therefore the report is agreed to in terms of section 71, 65 of the Constitution. We call on the Secretary to read the 10th order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Finance, the Provincial Treasury's expenditure review for the 3rd and 4th quarter of the 2015-16 financial year.
The Honorable
Thank you very much, Honorable Madam Chair of the House, honorable members. The Select Committee on Finance has resolved to engage with provincial treasuries on quarterly basis to ensure fiscal sustainability and enhance its oversight role over provinces. The PFMA requires that the provincial treasuries must, among others, exercise control over the implementation of the provincial budget and assist provincial departments and entities in building capacity for efficient, effective, and transparent financial management. The committee specifically set the strategic objective that seeks to ensure effective oversight over provincial government finances, to influence budget policy decisions through effective implementation of the Money Bills Act, particularly reporting on macroeconomic, fiscal policy position, as well as tax and revenue issues. As part of achieving these objectives, the committee held public hearings with the MECs of Finance from all 9 provinces in between May and August, here in Parliament. The provinces presented their respective economic and fiscal positions, growth and development strategies, and overall spending for the 3rd and 4th quarter for the period 2015-16 financial year. It transpired, Madam Chair, that from all the engagements that Gauteng, KZN, and Western Cape provinces remain dominant economic hubs, contributing almost 65% to the GDP. This trend of economic activity, highly concentrated in few regions, is likely going to remain in the future, though the collective contribution has declined over time. The economic sector contribution to GDP differed greatly per province, but finance and business services, wholesale and retail sector, manufacturing, and general government services were key economic drivers. The rates of unemployment differed significantly per province, but more pronounced in the 5 provinces. That's Mpumalanga, Free State, Northwest, Eastern Cape, and the Northern Cape provinces, hovering between 29 and 34.7%. The provincial budget spending figures for the financial year 2015-16 show that all provinces spent 98.3% of the allocated budgets on aggregate. Underspending amounted to 8.5 billion, of which Gauteng contributed 2.2 billion and Eastern Cape 2.1 billion. The reason for underspending were mainly delays in infrastructure projects, supply chain management challenges, and high vacancy rates. In terms of fiscal position, most provinces had sufficient cash to pay for unpaid invoices. The deterioration of the domestic economic environment continued to put pressure on the national and provincial fiscus. Along with the rest of the country, a decline in commodity prices and drought had a negative impact on the economy of provinces in varying degrees. We remain encouraged that most provinces have tabled medium to long-term provincial growth and development strategies. And also the committee emphasized that provinces should effectively use growth and development strategies to grow their economies, realize value for money spent, and improve revenue generation. We further recommended that provinces should continue to explore ways of reducing reliance on government funding to sustain the growth and development agencies, and also merging of public entities and boards where applicable. And we're happy to report that quite a number of provinces are making progress in this regard. Provinces were also encouraged to make better use of intergovernmental services at the municipal and national level for revenue collection and improve their spending capacity to ensure that Provincial Revenue Fund delivers services as planned and on time. The committee further felt that it would be beneficial for provinces to address their challenges with revenue collecting agencies, municipalities, and provincial treasuries, and maximize revenue collection to supplement the equitable share and provide required services to the people. The committee also noted key challenges, among others, was provinces' capacity to pay within 30 prescribed days, and also issues that relate to compliance with PFMA, and members can attest also with the current audit report, which points to some of the areas that needs to be improved among provinces, and also the issues of underspending and the use of consultants and litigation. And to conclude, our committee was satisfied that with progress made by provincial departments improving their fiscal positions to ensure continued delivery of services to the people, and that provinces were showing readiness to respond to the challenges as alluded above, that the provincial government is working hard to ensure that they implement medium to long-term economic growth and development strategies. We believe that provinces will continue to increase capacity to provide much needed services around housing, education, and health, among other things, in improving the lives of the people for the better. I thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question. The question is that the report be agreed to. In accordance with Rule 71, I shall first allow provinces to make their declarations if they so wish. Is there any province that wishes to make a declaration? None? I shall then proceed to the voting on the question, and I shall do so in alphabetical order. The Eastern Cape.
Nkosi Sihlalo, siyayamkela le ngxelo.
Free State.
Thanks, Chair. Free State, amohela.
Gauteng.
Thank you, Chair. Gauteng agrees.
KZN.
KwaZulu-Natal votes in favor.
Limpopo.
Limpopo agrees.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga agrees.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest.
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape. Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the question has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the 11th order of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Finance, study tour to Mexico from 27 August to 3 September 2016.
The Honorable Mutara.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, Parliament has been considering financial reform regulations for a number of years in response to the global financial crisis in 2008. The National Treasury, working together with the South African Reserve Bank, has presented a number of bills to Parliament in this regard, one being commonly referred to as the Twin Peaks Bill. This bill has now been passed by the National Assembly and is due to be considered by the Select Committee of Finance of the NCOP in 2017. In 2015, the finance committees of the two houses decided to undertake a study tour to investigate and interrogate how other parliaments have managed their financial reforms after this crisis, and particularly look at the role of Parliament in this transition. The study was planned as a 2-phase collaborative approach. The Standing Committee on Finance has completed the first phase by visiting the United Kingdom, and the second phase, which the Select Committee undertook, was to look at the process which took place in Mexico. The detail of the context, which served as the terms of reference for the committee work, is available in the report tabled in the ATC 155 of 2016, dated the 29th of November of 2016. We interacted extensively with all stakeholders involved in the financial regulatory sector in Mexico. The Chamber of Deputies, Lower House of Parliament, which is responsible for the approval of revenue laws and the federal expenditure, which is submitted to them by the executive. This process is done in a similar way that the Parliament of South Africa passes its budget and revenue laws. We met the Central Bank of Mexico, which is responsible for monetary policy. Much like South Africa, Mexico's banking sector is highly concentrated and exposed to foreign banks. Amongst the lessons we learned was that the regulatory institutions fall within the Ministry of Finance while still maintaining independence. The Mexican financial reforms have promoted competition within the financial sector in order to lower the cost of financial services. There is also an increased role of development banks and private institutions within the financial system. We met all the financial sector regulators and consumer protection agencies and looked at the importance of their role post the financial crisis. Consumer protection remains a critical component to creating a financial sector which can withstand shocks and be buoyant enough to respond favorably to serve its clients. Chairperson, let me take this opportunity to thank the South African Embassy in Mexico, the National Treasury officials who assisted us pre and post the study, all stakeholders who we had the privilege and pleasure of meeting and learning from. I so move, Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question, and the question is that this report be agreed to. In accordance to Rule 71, does any province wish to make a declaration before we proceed to the voting? None. I shall proceed to the voting in alphabetical order. The Eastern Cape,
Sihlalo hlonipheke siyamkela le ngxelo.
Free State,
Ke a leboha modulasetulo wa Free State e amohela.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KZN,
Gauteng votes in favor.
Limpopo,
Limpopo agrees, Chair.
Mpumalanga,
Malanga agrees.
Northern Cape,
Northern Cape agrees.
the Northwest,
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape. Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in favor. Therefore, the report has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read the 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th orders of the day.
Consideration of reports of Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources on regulations pertaining to the appointment of registering authority responsible for the registration of environmental assessment practitioners in terms of Section 47(2) of the National Environmental Management Act 1998, Act number 107 of 1998, draft regulations for the registration of professional hunters, hunting outfitters and trainers in terms of Section 8(3) of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act 2004, Act number 10 of 2004, submission of the amended alien and invasive species listing notices in terms of Section 8(3) of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act 2004, Act number 10 of 2004, invitation by the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries to nominate candidates to be considered for appointment to serve on the Agricultural Research Council.
Thank you, ma'am. The Honorable Sefako.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, honorable members, for the opportunity to present before this August House the reports of the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources as follows. The report of the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources on the submission of the amended alien and invasive species listing notices in terms of Section 8, subsection 3 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act number 10 of 2004, dated the 25th of October 2016. The Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, having considered the submission made by the Minister of Environmental Affairs to approve the submission of the amended alien and invasive species listing notices in terms of Section 8, subsection 3 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act, number 10 of 2004, referred to it on the 30th of June 2016, hereby request the House to adopt this committee's report on the matter. The second report, the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, on the draft regulations for the registrations of professional hunters, hunting outfitters, and trainees in terms of Section 8, subsection 3 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act 10 of 2004, dated the 25th of October 2016. The Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, having considered the draft regulations for the registration of professional hunters, hunting outfitters, and trainers in terms of Section 8, subsection 3 of the National Environmental Management Biodiversity Act, number 10 of 2004, referred to it on the 21st of July and the 11th of August 2016, hereby request the House to adopt the committee's report on the matter. The third report, the report of Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources on the invitation by the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery to nominate candidates to be considered for appointment to serve on the Agricultural Research Council, dated the 22nd November 2016. The Select Committee, having received the invitations from the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fishery to nominate candidates to be considered for appointment to the Agricultural Research Council in terms of Section 9, subsection 3, A, Roman 1 of the Agricultural Research Act, Act number 86 of 1990, referred to on the 9th of June 2016, reports as follows. The Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, having considered the request from the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries for nominations of a candidate to serve on the Agricultural Research Council, wish to report that the committee met on Tuesday, the 22nd November, to consider any candidate nominated by the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources to serve on the Agriculture Research Council. The committee, therefore, wishes to report that the submission of Mr. Charles B. Stoffile was agreed to and adopted by the committee. I therefore respectfully request that the House note the report of the committee. The fourth report of the Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources on the regulation pertaining to the appointment of registering authority responsible for the registrations of environmental assessment practitioners in terms of Section 47, subsection 2 of the National Environmental Management Act 1998, 107 of 1998, dated the 25th of October 2016. The Select Committee on Land and Mineral Resources, having considered the regulation pertaining to the appointment of a registering authority responsible for registration of environmental assessment practitioner in terms of Section 47, subsection 2 of the Environmental Management Act, Act 107 of 1998. Refer to it on the 30th of June 2016, report that the committee has concluded its deliberations thereon. The committee is satisfied that the regulations are consistent with the purpose of this Act, are within the powers conferred by the Act, are consistent with the constitutions, and create offenses and prescribe penalties for such offenses that are appropriate and acceptable. I hereby request the House to adopt the committee's report on the matter. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in terms of the 12th order, and the question is that the report be agreed to. In terms of Rule 71, I will allow any province to make its declaration if they so wish. Is there any province wishing to make a declaration? None. I shall then proceed to put the report for vote in alphabetical order, the Eastern Cape. The Free State.
Free State vote in favor, Chair.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KwaZulu-Natal.
KwaZulu-Natal support.
Limpopo.
Limpopo agrees, Chair.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga supports.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
The Northwest.
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
Westkap ondersteun.
Danke, mevrouw. All 9 provinces have voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the report has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in terms of the 13th order, and the question is that the report be agreed to. Is there any province which wishes to make a declaration? None. I shall then proceed to put the report on the vote alphabetically, and I start with the Eastern Cape. The Free State.
Free State, Chairperson.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KZN.
KwaZulu-Natal support, Chair.
Limpopo.
Agrees.
Mpumalanga.
Agrees.
Northern Cape.
Agree, Chair.
Northwest.
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
Western Cape ya dumela.
Re a leboga. Honorable members, all 9 provinces have voted in favor. Therefore, the report has been agreed to. In terms of Section 65 of the Constitution, I shall proceed to ask if there is any province in terms of the 14th order of the day. Is there any province which wishes to make a declaration? None? I proceed to put the question for the report to be agreed to in alphabetical order. Eastern Cape. Free State,
Chairperson, Free State e dumelana le yona.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KZN,
Was Natalia Isaac.
Limpopo,
Raya Mogela.
Mpumalanga,
Supports.
Northern Cape,
Agrees.
Northwest,
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
Western Cape supports.
Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in favor, so the report is carried in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall put the question in terms of the 15th order, and the question is that the report be agreed to. Is there any province which wishes to make any declaration? None. We shall then proceed to put the matter to the vote in alphabetical order. The Eastern Cape,
Nkosi sihlalo hloniphekileyo, siyayamkela le ngxelo. Nkosi.
the Free State,
Free State vote in favor, Chair.
Gauteng,
Gauteng agrees.
KZN,
KZN support.
Limpopo,
Raya Dumela.
Mpumalanga,
Mpumalanga votes in favor.
Northern Cape,
We feel support.
Northwest,
We agree, Chair.
Western Cape.
Weskap ondersteun, voorzitter.
Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in favor. Therefore, the report has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. The Secretary will read. Therefore, the Secretary will read the 16th and the 17th orders of the day.
Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, inspection in law or notice of intervention issued in terms of Section 139(1)B of the Constitution in 1996 in Ngotu local municipality and in Mzinyati local municipality.
Happy?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Greetings to everyone present. Chairperson, allow me, without any waste of time, to present the report on the state of intervention in Ngutu and Umzinyati local municipality, district municipality. Chair, subsequent to the local government elections held on the 3rd of August 2016, 2 municipalities in KZN, namely Ngutu local municipality and Umzinyati district municipality, are not yet fully functional in that, notwithstanding the elections of new councillors, it has not been possible for both new municipal council to constitute themselves and elect their respective chairpersons as required in terms of Section 36, subsection 1. Also elect amongst its members within a period of 14 days the executive committee in terms of Section 45, and also elect the mayors of their municipalities as outlined in terms of Section 48, subsection 1 of the Municipal Structures Act. As a consequence, Chair, in both municipalities, there are no executive functions currently being performed as required in terms of Section 152 of the Constitution. The district municipality of Umzinyati finds itself in this untenable situation owing to the inherent challenges affecting the smooth functionality of Ngutu local municipality. The crux of the problem in Ngutu local municipality is that there is no political party that has managed to receive an outright majority, a situation which resulted in legal contestation by individuals, prospective members of the council from the economic freedom fighters, resorting to protracted legal proceedings in courts of law, each fighting over who should serve in the present council. Until the full disposal of these cases, it has been prudent, the provincial government invoking the provision of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution, which reads as follows: when a municipality cannot or does not fulfill its executive obligation in terms of the Constitution or legislation, the relevant provincial executive may intervene as part of measures to ensure functionality of both municipalities so as to enable efficient delivery of services to communities in both municipalities. Upon receipt of a formal notice of intervention as required in terms of rules and legislations, the Select Committee undertook to embark on an in-loco oversight visit and inspection or verification of adherence to procedural issues relating to intervention in terms of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. The main objective of the Oversight, Chair, visit to these two municipalities was to interact with the internal and external stakeholders affected by the state of dysfunction in both municipalities in order to solicit the views on constitutional, procedural, and substantive requirements relating to invocation of Section 139, subsection 1B of the Constitution. The Select Committee further observed that both Nguti and Umzinyati district municipality could not, my apology, comply with the provisions of the following. Section 29, subsection 2 of the Structures Act, which requires that a Ngutu local municipality should have convened at least 14 days after the elections, with Umzinyati convening immediately after the conclusion of the local councils. 2, failure to comply with the provision of Section 18 of the Structures Act, which requires councils to be constituted. Failure to comply with the provisions of Section 26, subsection 2, which requires that a person to assume office as a councillor upon declared elected. Failure of Ngutu local municipality within 14 days to send reps to Umzinyati district municipality as obliged by the provisions of Section 23, subsection 4 of the Structures Act. The Provincial Executive Council accordingly directed the MEC for local government to appoint suitable persons as ministerial reps to implement the terms of reference. Chair, the Select Committee, having heard the views of the stakeholders, both internal and external, resolved to recommend the following to the NCP. That 1, that we approve the intervention in Ngutu local municipality and Umzinyati district municipality, subject to the following: that administrators fast-track the process of appointing and filling of vacant Section 56 and 57 managers, administrators assisting the municipality to align the service delivery and budget implementation plan and the IDP with the municipal budget. That the KZN MEC for COCTA to table quarterly progress report to the NCOP on the status of intervention reflective of challenges. That SALGA, working with the local government SETA, should require to facilitate relevant training and capacity building interventions for councillors to deepen their understanding on the roles and the legal frameworks, policies governing municipal management and administration. That the province tabling the state of finance of Umzinyati district municipality report to the NCOP and the provincial legislature, including the report on the findings of the investigations conducted around the fruitless expenditure since 2013 to 2016. Chair, the Select Committee will conduct a follow-up oversight visit to both Ngutu local municipality and Umzinyati district municipality. We wish, Chairperson, in conclusion, to bring to the attention of the NCP that the failure of the Ngutu local municipality to constitute itself inevitably resulted in the subsequent inability of the district municipality Umzinyati to constitute itself as required in terms of Section 29, subsection 2 of the Structures Act, due to the non-compliance of Ngutu local municipality to send reps to the Umzinyati district municipality as obliged by the provision of the Section 23, subsection 4 of the Structures Act. This urgently calls for a relook by the Minister of Cooperative Governance to amend the said provision. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the debate. I shall now put the question in terms of the 16th order, and the question is that the report be agreed to. We shall now proceed to put the question to the vote, but I shall first allow provinces, if they so wish, to make declarations. Is there any province that wishes to take this opportunity? None. We then proceed in alphabetical order to the vote. The Eastern Cape.
Nkosi, gcina isihlalo sivota sichasa le ngxelo. Nkosi.
Free State.
Free State amoela ka diatla tse pedi.
Gauteng.
We agree.
KZN.
KZN supports.
Limpopo. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga siyayisekela.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest.
We accept, Chair.
The Western Cape. Thank you very much. All 9 provinces have voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the question has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. I shall now put the question in terms of the 17th order, and the question is that this report be agreed to. Does any province wish to make a declaration? None. We proceed to vote on the 17th order in alphabetical order, and I start with the Eastern Cape.
Nkosi sihlalo hloniphekileyo, siyayixhasa le ngxelo.
Free State.
Akulebe umdulositulo Free State ya amohela.
Gauteng.
Gauteng agrees.
KZN.
KwaZulu-Natal iyavumelana.
Limpopo.
Limpopo iyadumela mdulositulo.
Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga iyasekela.
Northern Cape.
Northern Cape agrees.
Northwest.
We accept, Chair.
Western Cape.
Support, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, all 9 provinces have voted in the affirmative. Therefore, the question has been agreed to in terms of Section 65 of the Constitution. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day. You are requested to remain standing until the procession has left the House. The House is adjourned.